In the spring of 2011, the precious metals market was on a tear. Gold was rocketing towards $2,000 an ounce, an all-time high. Silver was exploding, nearly hitting $50 an ounce. Investors poured in, convinced they were riding a wave that would never break. And then, suddenly, it did. In a matter of days, silver prices plummeted by a staggering 30%. Gold followed, beginning a steep, multi-year decline. The mainstream explanation was simple. Margin hikes on futures contracts by the CME Group made it more expensive to speculate, forcing a sell-off. But for many, this answer felt incomplete. The speed and brutality of the crash felt coordinated. Was there something more to the story? A hidden hand at play? For years, that question lingered, a whisper in the corners of financial forums. But a new piece of information, emerging from a very dark and unexpected place, has reignited the debate and pointed to a story far more complex and disturbing than anyone imagined: the Jeffrey Epstein files. Among the thousands of pages of documents, a single cryptic email has sent shockwaves through the financial world. Dated in the tumultuous year of 2011, the email to Epstein references an urgent need to discuss the situation at Fort Knox. It mentions a high-level contact at the International Monetary Fund, or IMF. This email on its own is baffling. But when placed on a timeline next to the 2011 gold and silver crash, a startling picture begins to form. Just 2 weeks after the crash began, the head of the IMF, Dominique Strauss-Kahn, was publicly and dramatically arrested in New York City. At the time, Strauss-Kahn, known as DSK, was a leading contender for the French presidency and one of the most powerful men in global finance. The official story is well known. But what isn't as widely discussed is what DSK was reportedly doing just before his downfall. Several sources, including his own advisors, have since claimed that he was preparing to challenge the US dollar's status as the world's reserve currency, potentially advocating for a return to a system backed by gold. Even more explosively, there were whispers that DSK had been questioning the integrity of the United States gold reserves. He was allegedly making inquiries, pushing for an independent audit of the gold held at the legendary Fort Knox. This is where the story takes a turn, into the heart of America's monetary secrecy. Fort Knox, the United States bullion depository, is supposed to hold the majority of the nation's gold reserves, over 147 million troy ounces. It's the bedrock of faith in the US dollar. Yet here's a fact that is not a conspiracy theory. Fort Knox has not undergone a full independent audit since 1953 during the Eisenhower administration. For over 70 years, the public has been asked to simply trust that the gold is there, as reported. The few inspections that have occurred since have been limited in scope, highly controlled, and far from the comprehensive drill and data-based audit that would be required to truly verify the holdings. Why the secrecy? The official Treasury line is that it's a matter of security. But for critics, this lack of transparency is a massive red flag. This brings us back to the 2011 crash. Let's piece together this alternative timeline. DSK, head of the IMF, begins asking uncomfortable questions about Fort Knox's gold. He may have even learned something that deeply concerned him. Simultaneously, he's planning a move that would challenge the dollar's dominance, possibly reintroducing gold into the monetary system. A powerful move like that would require one thing above all else: knowing for certain that the gold backing the system is real and present. What if DSK was about to expose a monumental secret, that the vaults at Fort Knox were not as they seemed? In this scenario, the precious metals crash takes on a new light. Was it a manufactured event, designed to crush confidence in gold and silver, punishing those who bet against the dollar system? And was DSK's sudden, public disgrace a convenient way to silence a man who knew too much? A man who was about to pull the curtain back on the world's financial stage? This is where we must draw a clear line between verified facts and speculative theory. The fact is, the Epstein email exists. The fact is, DSK was arrested shortly after the 2011 crash. The fact is, Fort Knox has not been properly audited in over 7 decades. The speculative leap is connecting these dots into a coordinated conspiracy. But the speculation doesn't stop there. It leads to an even more alarming possibility, one that has been circulating for years: the tungsten-filled gold bar theory. The theory suggests that during a period of high gold prices and tight supply, a sophisticated scheme was hatched. Billions of dollars worth of gold-plated tungsten bars were allegedly created and slipped into the global financial system. Tungsten is a metal with almost the exact same density as gold, making it the perfect material for a convincing counterfeit. A standard 400-ounce gold bar could be drilled, filled with tungsten, and then plugged with real gold, making it nearly undetectable without drilling into the bar itself and assaying the core. Did this really happen? In 2009, reports emerged from China that they had received a shipment of what they thought were gold bars, which turned out to be tungsten-filled fakes. While the full story remains murky and contested, it proved that the concept was, at the very least, technically feasible. If such bars do exist in large quantities, where would they be stored? The theory posits that national vaults like Fort Knox could be among the repositories either knowingly or unknowingly. The implications are terrifying. If a significant portion of the world's sovereign gold reserves is fake, the entire foundation of our financial system is built on a lie. A full, transparent audit of Fort Knox would either confirm the integrity of the U.S. reserves, strengthening the dollar, or expose a scandal of such magnitude it would trigger a global economic collapse. It's a high-stakes gamble that no government official seems willing to take. So where does this leave us? We are left with a series of deeply unsettling questions. Was the 2011 crash a simple market correction, or a deliberate attack to protect the dollar system? Was Dominique Strauss-Kahn's downfall a tragic personal scandal, or a political assassination to silence a threat? And what, exactly, is inside the vaults at Fort Knox? Is it the solid gold bedrock of the American economy, or is it a Potemkin village of tungsten fakes? A secret so dangerous that the powers that be would do anything to keep it hidden. The Epstein email may not be a smoking gun, but it is a fresh clue in a decade-old mystery. It forces us to look again at the official narratives and to question what we are told. The story of gold, power, and secrets is as old as civilization itself. The events of 2011 and the cryptic clues left behind suggest that this ancient story is far from over. As investors and as citizens, the demand for transparency has never been more critical. The truth about what lies in Fort Knox isn't just a matter of financial curiosity. It's a matter of national and global economic security. Until we have a full, independent, and transparent audit, the whispers will continue. The shadow of doubt will remain. Thank you for watching. If you found this investigation insightful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the stories that shape our world. In February 2025, Elon Musk posted on X, questioning if gold was stolen from Fort Knox. He suggested live streaming an inspection. The world's richest man wanted to put cameras inside the vault. Then, aboard Air Force One on February 20th, Donald Trump told reporters on camera, "We're going to go into Fort Knox, the fabled Fort Knox, to make sure the gold is there." A sitting U.S. president said that on the record. Senator Rand Paul immediately acted, formally requesting Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent arrange an inspection visit within 30 days. Remember those three names: Musk, Trump, Paul, the richest man, the president, a sitting senator, all three publicly committed to opening Fort Knox. And then came total silence. Musk last mentioned it on April 6, 2025, in a Fox Business interview. After that, never again. Trump never mentioned it again. The Washington Times reported in May that Trump had developed a new perspective. This is a man who talks about everything, yet went completely silent on Fort Knox. That pattern, in my opinion, is more significant than any email. Rand Paul's 30-day deadline passed. Then 60 days, 90 days, over 100 days. The Treasury never responded. Not a single word. A U.S. senator asked to verify America's gold, and the Treasury ignored him for over 100 days. Retired Treasury Inspector General Eric Thorson, one of the few alive to have entered the vault, told reporters something remarkable. If Trump truly believed the gold was gone, he'd be down there instantly. He knows it's there. Proving it would make him look foolish, so the best move is to drop it. That is one explanation. The gold is there, and proving it is embarrassing. But there is another explanation that keeps gold investors awake at night. What if they went silent not because the gold is there, but because they discovered some of it is not? What if someone warned, "Mr. President, you do not want to open that door. I've no proof that happened. Nobody does. But that possibility is precisely why Congressman Thomas Massey introduced the Gold Reserve Transparency Act in June 2025. It mandates the first comprehensive independent audit of Fort Knox since the 1950s. Independent auditors, full physical count, bars drilled and tested, results made public. As of today, that bill has not been voted on. It sits in Congress, gathering dust. If you think such questions only exist in conspiracy theories, think again. It already happened to Germany. In 2013, Germany asked the Federal Reserve Bank of New York to repatriate 300 tons of its gold stored there. The Fed's response was that it would take 7 years. For gold supposedly already separated and accounted for, the answer was, come back in 2020. In the first year, barely any gold was returned. When it eventually arrived, the bars had been melted down and recast into new ones. They were not Germany's original bars. The Bundesbank claimed it was to meet modern standards. Critics raised an obvious question. If the original bars were there, why melt them down? Germany got its gold back by 2017. But the fact that it took 4 years to return what should have been loaded on a plane in a week has never been satisfactorily explained. The Germany story is not a conspiracy. It is a documented event between allied nations. The Fed could not immediately return Germany's gold. A simple question arises. Was it actually sitting there, or did someone have to find it first? Now, hold all of this in your mind simultaneously. Email exists. The referenced article is from a discredited source. I have stated that clearly. But the 73-year audit gap is real. 3 powerful men going silent is real. Senator ignored for 100 days is real. Germany waiting for years is real. Okay. A bill to force an audit gathering dust is real. And I haven't even reached the scariest part. Now I owe you honesty. The Epstein email does not prove Fort Knox is empty. The referenced article is from a discredited source. I am not telling you America's gold is gone. I have no evidence of that, and neither does anyone being honest with you. What I am telling you is that the questions are real, the silence is real, and the gold market's response is very real. The email is not the evidence, it is the match. The fuel was already there. Decades of unpassed audit bills, ignored Senate requests, broken presidential promises, and a financial system booking gold at $42 in a $5,000 world. I believe gold is going significantly higher, not because of one email in Epstein's inbox, but because of everything it accidentally exposed. The 73-year gap. The 3 men who promised to open the vault and went silent, the country that waited for years for its own gold. The math demanding revaluation. The central banks that will not stop buying, and the one question the most powerful government on earth refuses to answer. Here is what stays with me after weeks of research. It would be so easy to kill this story. 1 audit, 1 day. Bring in cameras and independent auditors, count the bars, drill 10, publish the results. It would cost less than what the government spends in 30 seconds and end every Fort Knox conspiracy permanently. I keep returning to that. If the answer is good, why not provide it? The fact that they refused, that 3 of the most powerful people promised and then went silent, tells you something. I don't know exactly what, but it tells you something. The gold is there, open the door. They will not.